So you may have seen our recent post on social media with regards to streaming tweets into Azure Databricks and then visualizing them using Microsoft Power BI. In the process of doing that, we've also applied sentiment analysis and keyword or key phrase detection to enable us to build the word cloud. So we've extracted the key words from those tweets as well, and we've called the Microsoft Cognitive Services to be able to do that. There are other ways of doing it, but we wanted to test out this architecture with using Cognitive Services, using the Azure Event Hubs, and using Azure Databricks. So first of all, we've used the Twitter streaming API on the left-hand side there. We've called that using Azure Databricks and pushed those tweets into the Azure Event Hub. So that's just a message broker, a message service. So the Event Hub can manage millions of messages a second. So it's highly scalable in terms of the architecture there. And then we've subscribed to the Event Hub to receive those messages. We've pushed them through Azure Cognitive Services to be able to apply sentiment analysis, and we've pushed that out into a Databricks Delta table. So we really like Databricks. The amazing thing about Databricks is that you can fire up a huge cluster of servers very quickly, and you only pay for what you use. Now, Databricks, you can use lots of different coding languages. You can use Python, you can use Scala, you can write SQL in Databricks. So it's very flexible. It really manages your data pipeline. It also enables you to do very advanced machine learning and data science activities as well in there. So it's a really powerful tool. It's completely serverless, and it's very scalable. So we've used Databricks for the purposes of this demo, and we'll also show you some tools in Azure that we've had to fire up. And yeah, let's get into it and show you how we set this up. So there are some prerequisites if you would like to use Databricks to stream tweets. First of all, obviously you need a Databricks instance. Now we've got one already here. If you did want to set one up, just go and search for Azure Databricks at the top there in your Azure portal, and press add, and enter your workspace name, subscription, so on and so forth. Now we're just using the standard tier here, and it's really very quick to set up. It may take a minute or two just for your instance to fire up, but once that's there, you can dive straight in and launch it. And it's one of the things we love about Databricks is you can instantly get up and running. There's no infrastructure, and you've immediately got a very scalable, very powerful tool at your disposal. So we're just going to open our notebook, the one we created earlier. So that's the Send Tweets to Event Hub. Okay, and you see here that our cluster isn't running. We're just going to select Start to start our cluster there. And you should see that coming to life. So you can see that the cluster has now started, CL_snap003. We're just going to briefly take a look at this. So we've had to define the namespace and the event hub name. So that is the Azure Event Hub service that's going to receive our tweets. That's our message broker. We've got a secure key here. You could save this as a secret in Databricks, so it's encrypted, it's secure. We haven't done that in this case because we're gonna close down this Event Hub anyway after this presentation. And you can also see that you've got the Twitter values here. So you do have to register a Twitter application. Again, it's very quick and easy to do. And the secure keys are in there. Again, we're going to delete this application, so feel free to try and use these. You won't get very far. So yeah, we're going to just clear down the results of the previous execution here. So we're going to clear those down. You can see we've got a query for @Boris Johnson, and we're just going to kick this off. And we should start to see tweets coming in. And here they are. So this notebook will continue to stream these tweets until I ask it to stop. As you can see, there's another one coming in now. And if we look at the Event Hub, we will at some point start to see those messages start to flow through as events. So you can see here there's a bit of a spike there. That's the current time. So just got that spike now. So if we have a look, yeah, there it is. So that's the Event Hub. So that is successfully receiving tweets. So we fired up our Databricks service. We've added our credentials for our Twitter app and our Event Hub, and we're now streaming tweets into the Event Hub. So the next step here is to actually start retrieving those tweets and analyzing them, so applying sentiment analysis to them. So we're going to do that here. We're going to just first drop our events table. So this was this is a table which was used for my previous post. We're going to run that though. We're going to completely drop the table. And the great thing about Databricks is we can run SQL just by adding that comment at the top there. So initially it can take a little while because I think this notebook just has to attach itself to the cluster. And that's just going and dropping that table now. So if we move on, the next portion of code, you enter again your namespace, so the information from the hub, and this time we're going to do a read. So this is an incoming stream, so we're going to read from the Event Hub. So that table's been dropped now. So we're going to read from the Event Hub. We're going to specify some classes here for sentiments. We also need to understand the language to be able to determine the sentiment. And we're going to do that by using Cognitive Services, it's the API connector to Azure Cognitive Services. Now, there are some open source sentiment analysis tools, natural language processing toolkits for Python or for Scala. We're going to use the API because we're just interested in seeing how that works, and also it's Microsoft. We may find it's more accurate because they've obviously tried and tested this. Some of the open source things may not be quite as polished. So we're going to call the APIs, and they are going to return some sentiment for us. So if we and the other thing we're going to do is we're actually going to use Databricks Delta. So we're going to create a Delta table called events, and we're going to stream those tweets with sentiment into that Databricks Delta table. So if we just kick this off. So on one hand we've got our streaming tweets into the Event Hub. That is still running, and we're now okay. So it's errored there because I dropped the table and then tried to do a run all. Now the table doesn't exist. So I'm just going to comment those out. And if we run all now, we should now see tweets streaming into Databricks Delta. Okay, so you see there that the stream is initializing. We're just going to run this now to see how many records. So we've got 5 tweets in the events table at the moment. If we run that again, you can see we've now got 13 tweets. We're going to run that again. So you can see that the tweets are now streaming into a table in Databricks. So Databricks is effectively founded on Apache Spark. So we're just going to jump into our Power BI dashboard now, and we're going to show you how that's hooked up. So we're just going to have a look at the Power BI dashboard that we've created now. So we've got a word cloud. So this is actually an add-on, but it's quite a useful one. So you can go into the import from marketplace, just search for word cloud, and you'll find this this nice add-on here. So there's 196 tweets loaded so far. We are just going to show you briefly how to connect to Apache Spark, which is what Databricks is based on. So if you select Other, you select Spark, and you go Connect. Then you enter your server. If we jump back into Databricks a minute, we can just quickly have a look at where those server details are. Under Advanced Options, JDBC, ODBC, you've got some connection details here. Now, there is a blog on this. It's not exactly as listed here. It's slightly different, but this is where you get the information from. I'll share the blog after the session. So you enter your server details, HTTP. You can either use import or direct query with Apache Spark tables, which is pretty good. And we're just going to cancel that. And I'm actually just going to refresh because the tweets are actually still streaming. So as you can see, if we just quickly jump back over and jump into our notebook, analyze tweets, we can still see that the job streaming data frame is running, and I'm just going to run this now. I'm going to count start from events. And we've now got 281 tweets in that table. If we refresh it again, 282, okay. And just going to jump back in here. What you can see is this is actually running the API on the fly for the key phrases. Now, it's maybe not the best way to do this because it is quite intensive in terms of processing, and it can get quite expensive if you're actually running the key phrases API on the fly through a report, particularly if you've got lots of users refreshing data. Probably not the best way to do it. We wanted to just test the direct connection from Power BI to the cognitive services APIs to see how it works really, and it works pretty well, probably best on smaller sets of data. If you are going to do it on large streaming sets of data, I mean, it's a very small data set, so it's okay here, but as this grows, as it gets bigger, you probably don't want to be running this on the fly. It's much better to run it in a tool like Databricks, which is much more scalable, and you can actually obviously execute, call the API once before loading into your storage layer, which in this case is our events table. But you can see that the tweets now are pretty much match our events table. So thank you for watching the session. I will be sharing some blogs that we've used to kind of pull this together, and that you might find useful in terms of how to connect Spark to Power BI, how to actually build the Twitter stream. But if you do have any questions, please do get in touch, and we'd be more than happy to help. Thank you.